lobby.
Yeah. So he.
Where is he? Which one is he in?
He's in the calendar.
He's in the live stream.
That's why I'm pinging him.
He's probably looking for. Well, I've messaged him. I don't want to. I want to delete it, but I don't know if it's going to delete like the whole fucking calendar. And I don't want to. I mean, I've already messaged him.
I already pinged it twice and invited him.
Yeah, but he doesn't understand how Gilded works. He's already told me that. So he just needs to look down the side until he sees a bunch of faces. That's what I do. But anyway, we're gonna since he and the funny thing is it was gonna be him and Merc starting the game. So if he gets here within the next couple minutes, it'll be Merc and Neon. All right, let's
take your time because I'm still driving, and I know that's kind of spotty. So maybe that works out for the best.
Yeah. So you know what? Let's look. Let me look through. I guess we'll start at the hospital then. Yeah. All right. So let me make sure all the NPCs are set up. Okay. Definitely no suspicious people in this lobby. So, Mr. Osprey, you and Captain Jasad Reiner arrived at the same time, but you gave him the dignity of being able to speak with his half-brother for 30 minutes before he then promptly marched out of the physical therapy room. And as I described before, you have a Marine. Let me look up his rank because I've forgotten what it is. NPCs, Marines. He is a first lieutenant. Hold on, let me look at NPCs in orders of appearance. Marine Squad Commander, First Lieutenant, yep. And you see a couple nurses and doctors and other hospital attendees and workers in the area. I'm going to go ahead and move your token up, and hopefully everyone is able to access their own tokens. I don't know why that's a thing where sometimes people can't, but once I put your token on the sheet, go ahead and move it around so that we know that you can access it.
I have been cloned. I will delete the original.
Oh, I only see one.
There we go. If you zoomed out, there was another one of me in the corner sitting in a chair, but it's fine.
Oh, okay. So yeah, like I said, Mr. Reiner has left, and this is kind of what you see on the screen. Obviously, you know, like I said in the Starfleet Academy game, there is no such thing as finding the perfect background. So just imagine a general hospital. That's kind of what you're seeing right now. So yeah, I'll let you take it away since you'll be the one kind of opening the door. So yeah, go ahead and take it away.
And I'm guessing when Reiner left, he provided no useful information and gave no clue as to his mood, which is fine. Of course. So yes, Captain Osprey will walk up. Is the lieutenant stationed outside the door?
Yes, he is standing outside the door.
Okay. Osprey will walk up as though he has the perfect right to just walk in, but he will slow his pace slightly and produce suitable identification.
Okay. Well, as soon as you show him a data pad with your image and a personnel file on it, he just nods to you and looks away. He doesn't care too much.
Fantastic. And so yes, then Osprey will walk in and he'll observe the room to see is Lasco sort of lying down. Does Lasco look okay? How are the nurses and doctors sort of behaving? What's the general read of the room when he walks in?
So when you walk in, there is a ensign in blue Starfleet uniform asking kind of generic, how are you feeling kind of questions to Mr. Lasco Zed. You see in another area, like a mini office, there is a civilian medical individual working hard at a computer terminal. But yeah, that's pretty much what you say, or what you see.
Okay. He gives a polite nod to the civilian nurse, but otherwise keeps moving. Yep. And heads up to the ensign. And he's aware that this is still somebody in medical care, so they have to be properly discharged. You can't just yank them out of a hospital.
Right.
And we'll go... I apologise if I'm interrupting, Ensign. Now a convenient time?
She turns and looks at you and smiles and says, Mr. She kind of tilts her head like she's trying to get a name from you.
Osprey, Captain Osprey.
I see. I am, and she says, "I'm Ensign Rachel Pastor. I am the physical therapist for Mr. Zed here. You could talk to him. He'll be discharged in a few hours, but I definitely don't expect him to be pulled out anytime soon. We'll say." And
he nods.
She'll move around you and head towards the door.
Up and say, Mr. Lasco, how are you feeling?
Oh, after being frozen in space and jumping through whatever it was, I probably would be saying I should feel alright, but I'm still probably going to be still have some trauma from it.
I see. You say jump through whatever it was. I'm sure you've asked this question already, but what's your best memory of that event?
Black, dark.
I see.
It's like having somebody turn off the lights and you can't see anything in front of you.
I see. That must have been quite distressing for you, Commander. Well, we'll have many conversations, I'm sure, over the coming days and weeks about exactly what led up to it. I don't want to overload you in your period of recovery. What are the doctors saying about your physical and mental health?
I don't know. They're being quiet about it.
He notes that, but doesn't give any kind of obvious expression of, oh, that's wrong, or... I see. Well, how are you? You mentioned that you have some trauma, but physically, are you feeling robust and well?
I should be. I should be back on my feet soon.
Excellent, Commander. Now, have you been told about the proposed deployment for you once you're discharged from this hospital?
Yeah, I'm supposed to be on a ship called the USS Legion.
Sovereign class vessel. Well, allow me to introduce myself more formally, if you didn't hear my name before. I am Captain Charles Osprey. I am the captain of the USS Legion.
So, yeah. Hello, I'm Commander Lasgo Zed. My last name's Zed, but you can obviously see that I'm half Cardassian, half Bajoran. Most people just assume that I'm Cardassian.
I see, I'll bear that in mind. What can you tell me about your service history in the world you came from?
I was an engineer before. I was a chief engineer before I became an XO. So I served during the end of the Dominion War as a engineer for Starfleet, and then worked my way up slowly to the ranks I have.
I see. Oh, what class of ship did you serve on most recently? I don't imagine Alternate Universe has quite the same class of ship. For instance, does the Sovereign class ring a bell to you?
Yes, it does.
Nice.
I served on the a Galaxy X class.
Ah, the predecessor. I see. But you've never served on a sovereign before now.
No.
He nods, as in, he's not surprised by that answer. And he says, well, you mentioned that you've been posted up to the XO role. Had you served in an XO role before transferring across universes?
Yes.
Ah, what was your experience in that role?
I had to be CO for a few hours before disappearing.
A few hours before disappearing. He gives you a curious look, as in like a go on.
Basically, we were in the middle of a fight, and the captain was unwell, and she had to be medically removed off the bridge because of her mental health.
I see. Was it you who made that decision?
No, I got the doctor up because I seen the signs of her not being in the right mind to command the ship, and I didn't want to overstep the boundaries, and we had to make sure the doctor done a proper assessment.
He gives Lasco a curious look, and in his mind he's thinking, maybe this strange mental behavior has something to do with what occurred. Maybe it was a symptom of the same thing. And so he'll ask, what kind of strange behaviors were these?
It's mainly due to the Kelvins.
The Kelvins? Please, explain.
Say you
let me
had
just
somebody
interrupt real quick.
psychologically attack your brain.
Alright, so let me interrupt real quick, because that's a good place to switch off to another scene while you guys are having this conversation. We're going to go... Tali, are you able to hear and speak? I know you noticed you dropped out a few times.
Yeah, I finally figured it out. I had to restart my phone.
Oh, okay, yeah. Gilded doesn't like phones either, apparently.
Yeah.
But anyway, so last session it was I believe you and Josh's character Merc had met each other. So I'm gonna jump there real quick. And after we actually, let me ask Rob something real quick. So Rob, your character, the chief medical officer, will have been basically ordered to go to Earth Space Dock to await the USS Legion. However, it's up to you. There is still a couple of hours until the Legion arrives, so if it's up to you if you want to meet your commanding officer and your XO in the hospital, or if you would like to meet some of your crew on Earth Space Dock. Which one of those would you choose?
If I'm in Space Dock, I'll just meet the Space Dock people, and I'll meet everybody else once I'm on the ship.
Okay. So we'll start with Neelan and Josh. Josh, how are things on your end? Are you at your computer, or are you still driving?
I'm still driving, but I'm kind of stationary, so I think I'm good.
Okay, yeah. It'll just be roleplay anyway, at least for now. So, at the Earth Space Dock Weapons R&D Lab, Cadet Merc and let's see who else, Lieutenant Vess and Ensign Avella, as well as Crewman Rill. Well, actually, no. Vess and Avella was with Naylan, and Rill and the two cadets were with Merc. But then when you guys entered and took a look around at all these amazing devices lying around behind force fields, obviously, Lieutenant Naylan kind of took a step back. And let me know if I'm pronouncing that name right too, Tali, because I have no idea.
It's Neelan. Knee, like your kneecap.
Yeah. Gotcha. So yeah, you saw Neelan kind of step back away, and I think if I remember correctly, I had you roll to see if you knew why, and I think, let me check some previous rolls, but I think you got that roll, but I want to make sure.
I'm pretty sure I got the roll with some what's it called?
So I guess my question is, how does Merc respond to Neelan's reaction to his group.
So he sees it though? Does he see him do that?
Yeah, I would say you definitely noticed.
And what's in Neelan's rank? I'm sorry, is he above?
He's a lieutenant.
I'm assuming he's above.
He's a lieutenant.
Oh, okay. Okay. But he'd walk up to him and just make sure he's okay. And he just would ask, is there a problem, Lieutenant? Or is there anything I can help you with?
Well, yes. As a matter of fact, you can. Maybe we can meet somewhere else.
Sure thing. Just tell me a time and place, sir.
Mess hall. You choose the time.
Forgive me. Let me step out of role here. We're not on the ship yet, right?
No, you're on Earth Space Dock. So basically, it's a space station, and you're in the R&D section of like just off the promenade area of the space station.
Say in a couple of hours, if it's nothing pressing, sir.
It might not be, but I see something. Maybe something inside the thing that we're looking at.
I look over at whatever he's looking at, and I don't know if I see what he sees or not.
We're looking at R&D like stuff. There's stuff behind like a force field. That's what I'm looking at, and that's what I'm afraid of.
Oh, okay. Well, then Merc will motion say, is it pertaining to this? And he'd kind of point. Sir?
Yes.
Oh, I totally will be happy to assist. And can we meet and set a couple of hours in and we'll discuss it, sir?
And you notice crewman Rill, the female Ferengi, kind of squeezes in between you two and looks at these R&D weapons and says, "Ooh, nice."
Nice. How do you mean, crewman?
Well, that's a ionized plasma beam cutter. I've never seen anything in the scientific field that it's quite like that. I definitely see a lot of different uses for that.
Same here. A lot of different reasons, but same.
Merc will be a little annoyed because he was more interested in learning it himself, but he doesn't say anything. Just kind of.
All right, so Rob, your character, you can have them where you can have Santosi wherever you want. However, you will notice somebody from your past walking down the promenade or someone wherever wherever your character is on Earth Space Dock at the moment. Like I said, you guys are going to be waiting a couple of hours for the Legion to arrive. But you see a woman in a blue uniform, and she's a lieutenant junior grade, and she is someone that you have, if not served with in a long-standing capacity, you definitely have worked with or in the same vicinity of at least for a little while. And her name is Hope Constance, and she is known for her specialty in triage, and she is a physician's assistant. And you notice her walking across the promenade.
Santosi would see her, kind of wave to her, and make the effort to go over and say her, because we're probably colleagues and friends from a while ago, and just some idle chit chat of, hey, how's it going? What brings you to Space Dock today?
Lieutenant Commander Santosi, it is nice to see you again after such time. You kind of see her gaze across the promenade towards the R&D lab, and she says, "There seems to be several cadets gathered over in that weapons R&D facility. I did not know that our security had lacked so much to allow cadets near those things, but alas, apparently that is the case."
Yes, that's something for the security chief to deal with.
She grins and chuckles a bit and says, Indeed. Where are you headed now?"
Well, I'm waiting for the Legion to arrive. I've been assigned as chief medical officer.
I see. I've been assigned as a medical officer. They haven't specified where exactly I'll be placed, but apparently we'll be working together again.
Excellent. You're still good up with your triage, aren't you?
Very much so. I'm very much looking forward to entering the Chief Medical Officer's program next year. However, until then, I will, suffice it to say, I will be giving my expertise in triage and medicine to you and whoever you deem necessary to be physician's assistant.
Well, let's just hope your triage skills won't be overly needed, but, and she'll be fiddling with a pad here, quickly pulling up her records, but based on what I've been seeing and reading about you, you are one of the top triage assistants in the quadrant, so I'm happy to have you work under me, and if things go well, I can offer my recommendations to the command track, to the command medical.
I see. Thank you very much, sir. Or ma'am. I don't really know which one you want me to call you, Lieutenant Commander. I suppose I'll stick with Lieutenant Commander. She kind of chuckles a bit.
And Santosi will kind of smirk at that a little bit as well, and just kind of say, yeah, the naming conventions can get a little confusing at times.
She says, "Would you like to go to the mess hall, since we do have a couple of hours?"
And she'll Santosi will tap away on her tablet there for a bit and say, yeah, I should be able to squeeze in a little bit of, maybe a couple frappuccino or something for a few minutes.
Great. And then she kind of does the hand gesture towards the cafeteria of the base, and you guys begin walking towards it. Would Lieutenant Carr like to give the Chief Engineer's log, and then we will go from there.
Okay. Personal log. Stardate 78415.7. Starfleet keeps assigning me to the big ships. I've heard the name Legion a few times over the years, but I didn't imagine her to be such a beauty. Whoever designed her knew how to blend ergonomics with visual appeal. Though they could have given a bit more elbow room in the engineering section, I really don't need another pair of panels that would explode. If visors are anything like the ears I already had, then it's to be another sense that I've lost and not fully recovered. At least the replicator's got my favorite coffee blend. And log.
At the moment, you are escorting Commander Delgado through his inspection, and you guys are nearing the end of this inspection before the Legion is set to leave Utopia Planitia at Mars and fly at maximum impulse towards to Earth space dock to take on its full complement of crew. Let me actually move you guys to that. Keon Delgado has his two assistants. I believe one is Harlan McMahon, the other is Yaritza Hines, and they are doing their damnedest to make everyone feel uncomfortable. They went over the bridge a few times. They've been to engineering multiple times. They've walked down the same corridors multiple times, and
they've even said that we passed inspection multiple times.
They have done a lot of things multiple times. and they have kept you here beyond the time that you were supposed to leave, at least a few minutes. However, once Mr. Delgado, which one is Delgado? It's this guy, kind of gets away from his two assistants, he kind of sidles up next to you and he goes, Lieutenant, he does the thumb movement towards his two assistants, and he says, if you need the help, I can have one or both of these fine young officers stay behind with you as on assignment as your primary assistant chief engineer, if you'd like.
Lieutenant Carr will think about that for a moment, but he is going to remember that one of them was already complaining about panels being out of spec, and he does not really want to have to put up with that over however long of a journey they've got. And then he'll just kind of politely nod and go, I appreciate the gesture, although I think I'm satisfied with my team as they are.
Very well. If you change your mind, you know where to find me. And he does that thing where he spins his hand up to indicate for his people to move out, and as he makes his way towards the turbolift, McMahon and Hines follows. Any last words before they leave?
Have a good dinner, sir.
He looks back over his shoulder and says, "You too?" And then gets on the turbolift and leaves. Logan Dawson, the commander, who is the acting captain at the moment, until being relieved by Captain Osprey, walks over and returns to his seat in the center chair and lets out a long sigh. I'm so glad they're finally gone.
It's kind of odd they stayed late. I thought that wife's dinner was waiting and getting cold for the way that they kept going on.
I'll give you a little secret, Lieutenant Carr. Sometimes us commanders just make shit up just to put people on their heels.
Well, I suppose that's part of why I just prefer working with the machines, because they're easier to predict, I would say.
And that's probably why I enjoy the bigger picture of strategy and diplomacy and not commanding a starship. And he basically gives you the order, as you being his acting XO, to take you guys out of Utopia Planitia and head towards Earth Space Dot.
All right. Aye, sir. Do I need to roll for that or anything?
I mean, you can. You don't have to. If you want to get you guys some momentum, because I think... Where were you guys at last time? Oh, no, you're at max momentum. So you don't have to. But if you want to, you can roll, I'll say, presence and engineering, difficulty 0. It's up to you if you want to or not.
Let me double check what my presence score is, actually.
And I'll say also that your two assistants return to the bridge, having just watched their favorite commander of Utopia Planitia leave. Oh, wrong guy. Let's see. Oh yeah, you had the Orion and the human lady. And each of them take a station. You have 3 bonus momentum.
You're welcome, everybody.
So, if you can think of anything to use it for now, you may. Otherwise, we'll save it for. I will say that your scene will be coming to basically after we do the next hospital scene, those 3 momentum will go away. So, but then again, you might need them in that hospital scene. So, who knows? So just keep that in mind.
I don't think there's anything more that Lieutenant Carr would... He's busy flying a ship now, so he really can't go and do anything. So.
All right. Let me finally remember to turn off the ambience before switching scenes, and then I will switch it back to the hospital. Lieutenant Zukov, Security Chief, you have been asked in a very obvious manner, although they think it's a very underhanded and non-obvious manner, to kind of observe Mr. Lasco Zed and perhaps ask him a few questions. You can't technically, legally interrogate anyone inside of a hospital, at least until they reach the lobby and have been discharged. But they don't see any problem with the new chief of security of the ship going and getting to know his new XO. So, Lieutenant Zukov, you are arriving at the hospital to do just this. You enter the lobby. However, unlike Captain Osprey, who had a prior appointment to go to see Mr. Lasco Zed, you must speak to the receptionist, or a Starfleet security officer will stop you from proceeding any further. So, I will let you take it from here.
Alright. I would like to visit the Lasco Zed.
And who might you be? The receptionist says as she glances down at her console.
Lieutenant Zukov.
And what division are you with? In other words, like security, engineering, command, etc.
Security.
You are aware that you are not allowed to interrogate people who are recovering from injury, are you not?
I'm aware.
Alright.
I just would like to get to know him.
She taps away at her console and says he's in room 1, down the hall on the left. And she just nods to the security guard next to her, and he steps aside to the double doors that will take you down the corridor towards Mr. Lasco Zed's physical therapy room.
Spasiba.
Go ahead and give me a roll. Give me a insight and security roll. Difficulty is 2.
Okay.
For the last probably decade or more, the infamous Allegiance has been a thorn in the side of the Federation and pretty much every other part of the galaxy, in which case all security personnel are pretty much programmed to be able to identify a Dren clone just based on seeing half of the back of their head. And you are, I would say, 75% sure you just saw a Dren clone heading down the corridor towards Lasco Zed's room.
I pick up my pace.
Alright. So you see, as you're heading towards the room, you see the Dren clone has disappeared into a crowd of nurses and doctors that are rushing to and fro. However, he has passed Lasco Zed's room and does not seem to be entering at the moment. Maybe he has a different goal, a different destination. You see the Marine standing just outside of Lasco Zed's room. When he sees you, about to pass or approach him, he notices you being security, and he says, "Actually, let me."
Actually, can I ask you something?
Yeah, go ahead.
Can I spend the bonus momentum?
Yeah, you can spend it on whatever you want. Obtain information, create a problem for an enemy, which is always useful but never used. You can create an advantage for yourself or your party, or...
Is it possible I could spend it for, how do I say this? Make that potential Dren clone's life a little harder?
Well, how do you want to do that, specifically?
Well, I'm not sure what their mission is, but get them into a few complications, like, can't really get to their destination, but force them into taking alternative routes that are closer to us.
I tell you what, spend 2 momentum, and I think you'll like the result.
Deal. Spent.
As you approach this Marine...
Yes.
Mac, were you going to say something?
I was gonna say yes. Good idea.
As you approach the Marine, you hear in the distance, through the crowd of milling about patients and people trying to have wheelchair races down the corridor, you hear the voice of a medical professional shout, "You! What are you doing there?" And then you hear someone else in a familiar voice saying, "Oi! I'm allowed to be here. Hospital's a free space. Look, it's called a sanctuary for... Okay, I'm out of here." And then you hear footsteps running as the Dren cone is caught moments later by security personnel. Now, question for you, Mr. Zukov. Would you like to go and see Lasco Zed, or would you like to go down the corridor and see what's going on with the Dren clone?
I believe I need to figure out what the hell is going on, because although my directive is to speak to Lasco Zed, the Dread Clone, as well as the Infamous Allegiance, is kind of a worse problem. Like, if they had something to do here, I gotta figure something out.
Alright. So you head down the corridor past the Marine who was about to ask you what you were doing, but then as he saw you pass, he kind of didn't care anymore. And you come up to two security personnel. I will go ahead and let you know that one of these security personnel is Starfleet, and the other is a civilian security contractor who is not Starfleet, but more like a local kind of police force kind of thing. And they both have in their grips the biceps of the Dread Clone. Now that you're closer up, you can clearly see that that's who he is. However, you also know, based on your security reports, that two security officers, even three, because you make three, is probably not going to contain him for very long. What do you do?
Well, if there's some way to quickly... I'm going to try and figure out a way to quickly incapacitate him to get him to, you know...
All right. How do you want to
incapacitate?
How do you want to incapacitate him?
Well, noting a Dread Clone, is there some way to? I would like to spend a bonus momentum to figure that out. Like, what would be the best way to quickly incapacitate him without triggering the hospital to?
So there's a couple of ways. Now, in a hospital, there are the security officers who work the hospital, Starfleet and civilian. They are allowed to be armed. They do have Type 2 phasers or the equivalent of on them. You would not be allowed to be armed because you're not assigned to the hospital. However, you could probably look over and see like a hypo spray just happen to be lying on a tray that probably contains a sedative. If you want to spend a momentum.
Yeah, I'll do it.
All right, you have now a sedative, a hypo spray with a sedative in your hand. I will let you have that for the momentum. However, you still have to roll to apply it.
Yeah, I'll roll.
Control and security, or medicine, probably security. Difficulty is... I'm going to say difficulty is 2, and it's going to be opposed. However, you got... Well, that's good that you got the 2, but he is going to oppose it because... Well, we know why he's going to oppose it. However, the security guards who are assigned here also are going to oppose it because they just see some random security officer trying to hypospray the person they think they have in custody. So let me roll first for the Dread Clone and then for one of the security officers. Ooh, the Dread Clone failed miserably. So he is probably going to, unless the security officer is able to wrench your wrist free or grab your wrist and wrench it out of your hands. No, he does not. The hypospray connects with the side of his neck, and he goes limp in the arms of the security personnel, who then thank you because, it succeeded, and they want to take credit for it. Thank you, sir. Thank you, Lieutenant, says the civilian contractor.
I will quietly allow them to take that credit. You're welcome. That Dread Clone... It seems that this Dread Clone had something to do with this. We'll have to figure out the purpose of it all.
With all due respect, says the civilian officer, we'll take it from here. You are not assigned to this hospital, are you?
Yep. I am not assigned. I was simply at the right place, right time. Oh.
Well, we do thank you for your service, and we will take him now. And they begin taking him to a doorway that will lead to the outside, which will then lead to a security shuttle where they will then take him to a jail of some sort, presumably. So where do you go from there?
Now I can finally do my little mission.
All right, let's jump to inside the room as you guys are having this conversation about this epic battle between giant Cthulhu-sized monsters with tentacles that can control people's minds and 15 starships of all different factions from Dominion and Federation and Klingon and Romulan. They all came together. Even the Infamous showed up with his big dreadnoughts and infected the Kelvin, the massive Kelvin ship with Borg nanites, which then created a cascade failure. Then they put in a black hole bomb, which then blew it up. Like this stuff is crazy. But yeah, go ahead and take it away. Rachel Pastor is over in the corner, just kind of chuckling to herself as she overhears this. And of course, the civilian doctor does not give a shit. She is at her desk continuing to work. So, Osprey and Lasco, if you want to take it away.
Absolutely. I will, if possible, essentially roll to detect lies, because that sounds incredibly incredible.
All right.
Yeah.
Insight and command. Difficulty is 0. Well,
all right.
Is Lasco going to lie, Mac, or no?
No, he isn't. He's going to tell him the whole thing.
All right, so difficulty 0. You got 2 bonus momentum. It's all true.
Well, okay. Captain Osprey will say, that is a truly remarkable tale, and from the look in your face, I think it might just be true, though were it told to me by anyone else, I might call them a liar or a drunkard. Just see how Lasco reacts to that slight witticism.
He just chuckles about that. And he goes, and plus, obviously you're a diplomatic man?
I try. It is part of the fundamental mission of Starfleet.
Well, pretty much, we did secure an alliance with our infamous model in our universe.
He looks genuinely surprised by that, and says, was this credible? What were the consequences of this, or was it too recent to tell?
Basically, we ended up getting a whole lot of technology, plus they had to dismantle their bigger ships that are like scale 7 or higher.
You have this look of extreme skepticism, not in the truth of your tale, but in the he's expecting a sting in the tale somewhere that he just hasn't seen yet. A case of, this seems too remarkable to be true, which makes me think that there is some kind of a trap. How long ago did this occur?
A few years, about a year, and then the infamous died, and the treaty became null and void, and lucky we able to dismantle majority of like their scale 7 ships, so we're on an equal playing field.
He died. How did he die?
Good
Radiation.
question. Good question. Yeah, Mac, how did you kill him? I mean, how did he die?
Basically, he died, from, I don't know, he ended up looking ghastly from all, I think, radiation burns.
What caused this?
We had an incident where, it pretty much like a solar flare happened, and that's what a majority of people actually assumed it was due to the solar flares.
He has 2 simultaneous questions. He says, the majority of people assumed it was? Am I to say that you were not one of these majority?
I am, but there was some conspiracy that he was murdered, but I wasn't even informed, or anyone else, so I assumed he was killed by the solar flares.
Is this another insight command roll? Because he is scrutinizing everything in this tale because it is remarkably important. It's just more truth than fair.
That would be up to Mac, because I honestly forgot if Lasco said had anything to do with that or not. So that's up to Mac if that's true or not.
No, he didn't. He only heard rumors, conspiracies.
Okay. Yeah.
But he doesn't know.
I see. And what do these stories say about why another clone simply did not step into the breach?
Become the new infamous lord?
He nods.
Basically, we don't know who was the next. They had a structure. Someone was overlooking the whole Armada, but we didn't know what was going on inside the actual faction. So, yeah, after he died, we didn't know what was going on because they were looking more inwards.
And was another clone sighted ever again, or did all the clones appear to vanish?
No, they were very much present.
Well, then perhaps I'm misassessing the scenario, but and perhaps things were structured differently in this universe and in yours, but I always took it that as long as one clone lives, the Armada of some form lives.
Oh, they would have a power structure. Guarantee they do have somebody they report to who's in charge of this universe's Armada.
He nods and says, so the leader at the time was killed, but the organization itself and his various extensions were not.
That's correct.
And let me just add something, and this is not anything meta, this is just something for y'all to chew on. There is a gap in knowledge as far as when a Dread clone, when the Infamous dies, naturally another one is just reborn basically as a clone to take over. However, there is a gap in knowledge as to why that wouldn't happen, but it may have something to do with the fact that they travel to different universes to conquer different universes. So there may be something there to where, when they leave one universe, they take the Infamous with them, so they wouldn't necessarily have a version of the Infamous there because he'd be busy, conquering other universes. So they would leave someone else behind to take over. But that's just a theory that you guys would have, especially Lasco Zed, because I'm pretty sure we have talked about this. But that's just a theory that has been floating around basically.
He leaves somebody in charge and goes and conquers other universes. So I don't know, but one information I can actually tell y'all is there is another Drain clone that is like power hungry. His name he's Dren 6.
Was that from your universe?
No. All reports were saying he was in our mirror universe.
He notes a little something there, quite obviously, and says that is both interesting and disturbing, useful information. Do you know roughly when the Infamous himself may have left your universe and gone to another?
When he died?
And how long ago was that, in your perception?
In your, I think it was 91, 92, around that time. And we had the big battle about 92.
Okay. He nods but remains silent. In his head, he was thinking if it was around about the same time you came to our universe, then you getting pulled through might be like a residual effect, and it's a clue that he came to this universe to conquer this one.
Lasco knows why Lasco's here and how Lasco got here. Well, within reason. Lasco knows it's not the Infamous. Whether or not Lasco has told Starfleet Command or Starfleet Security the things surrounding the final battle, that's up for Lasco to decide.
He tells you how it got here was you know the singularity. You know how that can detonate as a black hole, right?
Indeed.
Well, basically, some godlike beings came through, came to help, but their portal actually interacted with the singularity, and yeah, you can see where that came into effect. That's how I got into this universe.
I see. Well, if it may have thrown others around as well, we'll have to keep an eye out to see if other people were tossed into this universe, like interdimensional flotsam. I'm glad that you at least were recovered relatively swiftly. Now, I know you have been told that you are going to be serving as both the Legion as XO, and we look forward to having you. But have you quite grasped the unusual situation which you're in? After all, you are taking the appearance, the name, the role of somebody who was once here, as you'll have learned from talking to your equivalent's brother. But you are not quite that person, and we cannot assume you are similar. You'll appreciate that.
Yeah, that's okay. I'm wondering what happened to him, because all accounts he disappeared 10 years ago.
It's a very curious question, and one I think we should investigate. It would be... And he sort of leans back and casts his eye up and says, I'm not a science officer. I would have to consult with someone far more learned than I. But I am idly thinking that it may be something akin to a macro version of quantum entanglement, and something that happens to one of you happens to the other, maybe delayed in time, but the disappearances are in some way linked.
Yeah, probably.
Yes, yeah, wild speculation, of course. But yes, we should discuss that with science officers. They'd be far better place to deal with that question.
Yeah.
The reason... Sorry.
He lets you go.
Okay. The reason why I brought that up is you have to be prepared for a certain degree of caution regarding your appearance here. Not necessarily that you are an agent or anything along those lines. I do not believe that. But we have no way of checking your service history. We have no way of verifying the things that you tell us. We have to take absolutely everything on faith. Now, Starfleet's based on faith. It's an important element of what we do. But I hope you appreciate that there may be a degree of caution, at least at first.
I understand. I know Starfleet will be cautious about what I say.
I see. Well, I have a great many further questions for you, a great many discussions that we can have, and I look forward to having a conversation with you about how you're going to discharge your duties as an XO. But the more I stand here prattling on, the more time I take away from the ensign's good work. And he looks over his shoulder at the medical ensign.
Ah!
We have to get you fit and discharged, or we're never going to get aboard the Legion.
Speaking of which, Zukov, if you want to enter, this is your moment.
Yep, and I am.
By the way, when you come to the door, the Marine standing there, the first lieutenant, looks at you, puts a hand up, and says, "What is your purpose here, sir?"
I'd like to introduce myself to the new XO of the USS Legion. President.
And you are?
Lieutenant Zhukov.
And what is your relation to the new XO of the Legion?
I am their new security chief.
I see. Well, are you aware? Well, I am sure you're aware that there is to be no interrogation of any persons on the premises of a hospital while they are in the custody of said hospital. All right.
Yes.
He takes a step aside and allows you to enter.
He goes, "Oh, Captain. One more thing. Do you know what happened to Captain Bacata in this universe?"
You have never heard
Out
of
of
her.
character, did you? Okay,
You've
all right.
Never heard of her.
Okay. Captain Osprey will say, "That name is entirely new to me."
Did I accidentally
Okay.
overhear that?
Yeah. You walked in as Lasco asked that. Yeah.
What time is it right here?
At the moment, I'm guessing. Oh shit! What time did we say? I know. In my notes, from way earlier, I put down the stardate / time. I have since forgotten, so we'll just say it's like afternoon, maybe 2 or 3 p.m.
Good afternoon, Captain. Good afternoon, Commander. What's this
Good
about what was that again?
Good afternoon. And I think you were just about saying something. What?
Yeah, can you repeat what you just said, the whole new term, real quick? Because I was about to
Oh.
finish my own.
He says, He says, good afternoon.
Afternoon. I believe you are the new EXO, yes?
Yes.
Pleasure to be acquainted with you.
Yeah.
It is good to be acquainted with you, especially, Captain. I extend my hand as a handshake.
All right. I think some of the information that you were trying to get across was slightly lost in mic delays and so forth. Mac, what was the name of the captain we've never heard of?
Captain Bacata.
Bacata. Okay, thank you. And once that's done, Osprey will sort of note the slight irregularity about what's happened here, but he's not going to make a fuss about it, and will instead take Zukov's hand and give it a bit of a firm shake. Not appear overly friendly at the current moment. But looking at Zukov, is it immediately obvious that Zukov has got some kind of slightly internal role, bearing in mind that Osprey knows lots of the people who do the internal roles?
Roll insight security. Let's say difficulty is a baseline of 3. However, if Zukov wants to oppose it, you may, adding to the difficulty.
Let's see your roll.
It'll be presence and
What are you
security
trying
for
to read?
Zukov. I think he's just trying to see if you're basically spying.
And basically, do I know that you're working for the internal security rather than external security branch?
Yeah, and don't forget you have 2 bonus momentum.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm immediately going to consume...
I'm gonna consume one of them.
Yeah, alright, I'll consume
Alright.
the other. And here we go.
Let's see what happens. This should be interesting. Insight command and presence security.
Alright.
It's like...
Was that the one you just did, or is that... No, okay.
Okay.
Nice.
And I am going to re-roll that complication because I spent a momentum and I have cautious.
Complication. Oh, you can do that. Okay, yep. I was about to increase the complication range on you. Ooh. Just barely edged out, and no momentum for you guys because Zukov rolled 3 as well, so technically you had to get 4. So, yeah, you basically... I will say... I will let Zukov explain what Zukov is there to do, in so much as it makes sense from an external point of view. So if you would go
From a
ahead.
practical standpoint, he's here to actually ask a few questions. Terrible at explaining things.
Yeah,
Okay.
you would get you would get the feeling that Zukov is there to ask questions.
Not interrogate, just
Yeah.
curiously ask a few questions.
Yeah, I don't think interrogation's the right word. More like trying to get a bead or a read on the new EXO who's from another universe. Obviously weird, but you're not sure. You would probably You would probably, I would say you would assume that somebody in Starfleet security put that in Zukov's ear, but you would also probably assume that it's not an official capacity.
Okay. What I'm thinking is, because of course, what with Osprey's background, he's well connected to Starfleet security, internal affairs, and all of that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
He knows who the movers and shakers are. He knows who the people are, and
I'll just go ahead and say this sounds like an Admiral Lane operation to you.
Admiral Lane. I was about to bring up Admiral Lane. I'm guessing Admiral Lane, like, his job is a public one. Not that people know what he do, but in the same way that everybody knows who the director of the FBI is. What he does is secret, but everybody knows who it is. Yeah. So Zukov, being there, Osprey's going to put forward, because of course now everybody knows who Admiral Lane is. It's not a breach of security. And whilst he's shaking Zukov's hand, he'll just smile a little bit in the corner of his mouth and say, "How is Admiral Lane doing? I hope his health has improved."
His health has most certainly did.
Just as a little sort of, I know exactly who you're here, why you're what you're doing, who sent you.
And Zhukov actually appears insanely deadpannedly.
Yeah,
He's
that's
doing
good.
rather well.
Well, with that done, Captain Osprey will. He's actually going to see what you do. He's going to take a step back and sort of gesture for you to just do your work. So please continue.
Okay, so I need. Can I spend momentum to give me like good questions that might?
You could do that, or you could roll insight security, reason security, one of those, and see if anything comes to mind.
Yeah, let me just try to roll.
All right. I'm not going to give you momentum. I'll just give you the appropriate amount of information for that. So, I mean, the number one thing that Admiral Lane would be kind of worried about is whether or not Lasco Zed from another universe is a threat to national security, so to speak. So you would want to try to get any information from Lasco Zed that might, I don't know, maybe something about how his side of the Federation formed an alliance with the Infamous Allegiance. Anything like that would definitely put Admiral Lane on his heels as far as like being more paranoid, and also that would be something that would interest both security in general, but also maybe your character as far as being able to defend against
that is kind of an intriguing thing to figure out.
Yeah.
I need to try and figure out a way to word it right, that's the problem.
You could ask how his universe is different than ours. That would just seem like natural curiosity.
Just out of curiosity, Commander, yes? Okay.
Yes.
You're from a different universe, and I'm just curious, compared to where we are now. Perhaps if I could know the main differences, like anything you've noticed compared to here and where you are from?
Oh, we have a treaty with the Romulans and the Klingons. Like, it's an unbreakable.
Nice play.
It's an unbreakable one. You have to get all three sides to sit down to actually break the whole damn treaty. One can't just simply break it. And then there's there was the treaty with the Infamous. Yes, there was a treaty with the Infamous.
Not as good.
I was there. Yeah, a treaty with the Infamous, and we got a bunch of technology. We managed to make him dismantle like their scale 7 and beyond.
BRB, I need to check something because I just heard a door. And
That's okay. I'm gonna have this civilian doctor that was here earlier come up to the door and open it and enter and say, "Commander Lasco, you're being discharged from the hospital. We just have some forms for you to sign up at the lobby, and then you're free to go. Well, you've always been free to go, but then you'll be at full health and ready to leave at your leisure."
Okay.
So we're gonna jump back to Earth space dock real quick as you're departing the hospital or about to depart the hospital.
Yep, and then yeah.
What did I miss? Okay, I'm back.
I just had the doctor walk in and say that Lasco's discharged, and then we're jumping to ESD before you guys leave the hospital.
Alright, that's right. Good to know.
And then you would have heard him say like, we managed to make him dismantle like anything beyond scale 7 ships. The infamous Amato.
I believe it, like, there's a few moments of Zhukov actually, how do I say this? Getting that information, rechecking it, like an entire procedure of checking over evidence, just all in his head right now.
Alright, so... Sorry, what was that?
I see.
We're gonna jump to Earth Space Dock. We'll come back to the hospital in just a moment. Sorry. So you guys, Santosi and we're also gonna say, if you don't mind, that Neelan and Josh, Merc, I believe Neelan wanted to talk to Merc in the mess hall as well, right?
Yeah, we had an appointment.
Okay, so we'll say that you guys meander that way. The rest of your NPC buddies are probably going to head towards the airlock to wait for the ship to arrive. Dr. Santosi, you have been... Uh-oh, I hear some background noise. Hold on. Let me see what that is. Well, that's weird. I guess Promenade Ambience decided to fail on me. What in the world? It keeps doing it. Why you do this to me? Let's see. It should be fine. Every time I move from the music section to the journal section. Okay, whatever. Dr. Santosi, you have been sitting with Hope Constance, a former colleague of yours, in the mess hall probably for about 10 or 15 minutes, just eating or drinking whatever you want, having a conversation, catching up basically on your past. And that's when you notice Cadet Merc, or a Ferengi cadet, and he was a Betazoid. A Betazoid science officer with the rank of lieutenant enter the mess hall. What is Merc and Neelan talking as they enter, or are you guys gonna wait until you've got your food and drink and sat down?
I think I'm waiting for him.
Yeah, I kind of imagine the same thing. Like, we don't enter together, but
Okay.
I mean, I'm going to be there before the time agreed, like 15 minutes. Make sure I'm on time.
Okay. So let me ask you this, Josh. How does Cadet Merc? Like, he enters first. He enters 15 minutes. I would say he enters probably around the same time that, or maybe I would say probably a couple minutes after Santosi and Constance have entered. Describe Merc as a Ferengi cadet. How does he enter? How does he hold himself? How does he interact with anyone? Does he interact with anyone while he's waiting?
No, he's standing. He'd be standing at attention, waiting for the lieutenant to come. Perfect attention. Not
of course,
and, not really relaxing at all. Not really relaxing at all. Just
of course,
waiting for this moment. All
right. So,
then totally ignores everybody else. Totally ignores.
Dr. Santosi will notice in this mess hall where people come to eat and relax, a rigid Ferengi in a cadet's uniform, standing at attention, staring straight at a wall, just standing there for like 10 or 15 minutes. What does Dr. Santosi do or say, if anything?
Santosi would probably see that as an oddity, and would stand up and approach Cadet Merc, and just be at ease, Cadet. Is there something we can help you with?
Oh, forgive me. What's Santosi's rank? Forgive me. I'm sorry.
Lieutenant Commander.
Oh.
He said, "I, Lieutenant Commander, thank you, sir." He said, no, nothing you can help me with, sir. I'm waiting on an appointment with the lieutenant. I don't think I caught his name. Nealon, is it? I believe, and he should be here any minute. I'm waiting to discuss some matters with him, sir.
Very well, Cadet. But and she'll kind of lean in a little bit and kind of speak in a quieter voice. You don't have to stand at perfect attention at all times like that. You can just relax.
Hi, sir. I just want Lieutenant Nealon to know how important this meeting is for me. I want to make a good impression, sir.
She'll reach out her hand and put it on the cadet's shoulder, assuming the cadet allows that.
He would allow it. Your superior officer. He just kind of looked kind of quizzically, but didn't straighten up.
And Santosi wants to get a read on the cadet's emotions.
Oh, I don't know.
Because I'm a contact empath, so
that might be challenging.
Yep, Ferengis have a resistance to telepathy and empathy. However, I will make it an opposed roll so that it gives you the ability to succeed, even if it's unlikely. I will say it's contested, so for Josh or for Merc, it'll be a presence and security, and for Santosi, it'll be an insight and medicine, and the difficulty will be opposed. So whoever gets the highest wins.
Oh yeah, I'm going to spend the momentum.
All right.
Whoa.
You got to beat 2.
And I'm going to use psychology as a
focus. Cool. Ooh, yep. So you could. First, let me ask: is Merc actively trying to shield his mind? Because he can see that this person is Halian, so Merc would know that they're empathic. So is he trying to shield his mind, or is he just standing there naturally, not really caring or paying attention to the empathy probe?
He'd be more inquiring. Like, I don't. He knows it just probably isn't going to work, and he doesn't try to shield his mind. I mean, he's an open book. You know, he's not afraid, but he doesn't think this is going. I mean, he kind of enters his head like maybe this is what they're trying, but that's not going to work. You know,
right.
He doesn't think it's going to work anyway.
Yeah. Okay, so just explain since that kind of gives Santosi an idea of what Merc is feeling at that moment. Give him a little bit more information as to how he's feeling in general.
Like nervous, and are you nervous? Are you excited? Are you?
Oh, he's excited, and he genuinely just wants to make a good impression. He wants to be noticed. He has ambition, and he wants people to notice and be a valuable part of the team. And because someone at a higher rank has asked him to join a private conversation, you know, he's just amazed that's going on, and he does not want to screw this up. You know.
Right. So with that information. That's pretty much exactly what I was digging for. Santosi would just say to Cadet, it's like, Cadet, I appreciate your eagerness to please your superiors. That goes a long way at the academy and within Starfleet. However, you might want to just turn it down a notch and just relax and be more comfortable in your normal skin. And she'll take her hand off the shoulder.
He'll thank you. He'll thank her for the advice, and then he'll say, "I sir, thank you, sir," and he'll try to loosen up a bit, but maybe his posture lowers, shoulders lowers a bit, kind of half approach. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and Santosi sees that, and she'll give a smile and just goes, "That's better, Cadet. So I'm sure your meeting will go just fine."
He'll nod again and say, "Thank you again."
And then she'll turn and go back to her seat.
At that moment, Lieutenant Nealon enters the mess hall. Probably catches Dr. Santosi heading towards their seat, but probably isn't aware that Santosi was talking with Merc. But you will see Merc standing, probably still at attention at the bulkhead near the replicators.
Can I roll for my heavy use of Betazoid empathy?
Everyone's just trying to get information out of Merc. Yeah, go ahead.
All right.
That'll be.
And it's 2D.
Yeah, roll
2d20.
2d20. You can spend momentum to add dice, and it'll be an insight and I'm gonna say, depending on what kind of information you're trying to get. Are you trying to get like is he a danger? That would be security. If you're trying to just find out his emotions, his psychology, that would be like medicine. What specifically is he looking for? Or yeah.
I guess it would be the first one.
Okay, yeah, insight and security to see if there's anything dangerous about this Ferengi who wants to steal weapons. No, I'm just kidding. He doesn't want to steal weapons. I don't know. He might. He's
I
a
rolled a
Ferengi.
3 and a 7.
Oh wow! All right, so use. Well, actually, I'm gonna need Merc, since you are a Ferengi, you get to resist. So that do you have any focuses, Tali, in the that would apply to this situation?
Let me see.
Because if you do, then that 3 is probably a 2 successes, depending on what. Depends also what your medicine or your security is. If your security's 1, then it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it's security 1.
Okay, then it don't matter if you have focuses or not. So you've got 2 successes. If Josh, if you want to roll for Merc, and it'll be a presence and security. Now, before you knew that this Halian was touching you, so you had an idea that this might happen. But when the Betazoid walks in, I'm counting that as you have no idea. So basically, if the Betazoid ties with you, the Betazoid wins. The Betazoid does not have to beat you. The Betazoid just has to tie you. So you have to get more than 2, and you do not. So you are once again violated mentally. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, go ahead and as far as security, I can go ahead and tell you that there is nothing from a security standpoint unless Josh, you want to explain why Merc was so interested in those weapons.
Oh, just because it's a weapon and he has security interests. I mean, really, that's his passion. So that's why he was interested, and the fact that a superior officer took note to share something with him. He's just eager to be part of the the inside group. He doesn't know what Lieutenant Nealon knows, or he just knows that someone's wanting to talk to him. It's just as simple as that.
Right. So it's like me at a gun show. Gotcha.
Yeah, something like that. You want them? Yeah, he has up to no good. I mean, he's not up to good in no way, shape, or form. He just excited someone noticed him, and it's in his field, and a superior person took notice of him to share something with him. It could be just something like, I like the color of that. He'd be disappointed, I guess, then. But he's hoping it's something more.
All right.
So was it me?
Sorry, what was that?
So, is he coming towards me now?
Well, at the moment he hasn't noticed you. You've kind of just done an empathy check on him and figured out that he's not a threat, essentially. So it's up to you. Do you want him to notice you and come to you, or do you want to go to him?
I'm gonna wave my hand, like, "Hey, over here!"
Oh, he'll definitely come running for. I mean, not running. He'll march right up to you. I mean, no hesitation. He'll look at you and say, "Sorry, I was coughing." He'll look at you and say, "Reporting as ordered, sir."
It wasn't an order. I just wanted you to meet me here. Did you see that weapon? Did you see it?
I saw it briefly, sir.
Well, I know what it is. Maybe we can, I don't know, work something out. Something together. maybe prove yourself a little bit and help me at the same time. I'm not looking for all the glory, but maybe we can build a weapon out of that thing.
Build a weapon, sir? Yeah, of course. I'll do anything I can do to help, sir. What would you like me to do?
Well, did you see the phase converter on the beam?
Forgive me. Did Merc see the phase converter? I don't know. Do I need
That's
to roll
up
for
to you.
that, or
No,
can I
that's
just-
completely up to you. That's just roleplay technobabble to me.
Okay.
Yep.
Absolutely. I saw it, sir. It's very impressive.
Well, maybe if we can coil our phasers a little bit and make a puncture in one of the inducers, we can have the same kind of, I don't know, effect. Maybe. I'm hoping. I don't know.
Yeah, we can have a compressed angular confinement beam. Yeah, I see where you're going with this, sir. Absolutely. What, do you want to build a prototype? Is this an official sanction project, or are you the lead on it?
No. Honestly, I just wanted to try to see if we can even do it. Because, honestly, it's a prototype. I don't even. It might explode in our faces. But
That's half the fun, though, isn't it? Yeah, I'm sorry, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
All personnel, all Legion personnel report to Hangar Bay 13. The Legion will arrive in 10 minutes.
Next one goes, man, just so it's getting good. Can we continue this discussion when we're on the ship, sir?
of course, anytime.
I'm sorry, my microphone cut out. Could you repeat that? I'm sorry.
I said, of course, anytime.
Yeah, yes, sir. Absolutely. And I guess I better get going. I don't want to be late.
And I assume we're all going into the same direction.
Yeah, Hangar Bay 13 is the size of a starship, so there's multiple ways to get there, but since you're all in the same general vicinity, your guys just leave the mess hall and head down a massive corridor somewhere. So, yeah, generally, yeah.
Yeah, Google gathers things up. I'm assuming they're stored in a locker or something.
Yeah, you guys have been there a few hours. Well, some of you probably been there for days. Others have been there for a few hours. If you've been there for days, you have like temporary quarters and lockers and things like that. We're going to jump now unless you guys have anything else you want to do real quick. Every time I say real quick, everyone thinks I mean like an hour and a half, but no, real quick, like a couple of seconds. I'm going to jump to...
Can I interject real quick?
Sure.
So can I roll for intuition check to see if everybody's on the same page, or like if people have like bad intentions to this mission?
I tell you what, since you have encountered probably a half a dozen people that are going to be on the Legion, if you just spend a momentum, I'll go ahead and tell you.
Okay, I spend a momentum.
As far as you can tell, nobody that you've encountered is in any way got any bad intentions, or they seem like typical, if not over-eager, Starfleet officers and cadets. So everything at the moment seems on the up and up.
Right.
Alright, so we're going to jump to the bridge of the Legion as it begins its approach, its docking maneuver. Question for Carr. Is Carr going to stay at the chief engineer's console, or is Carr want to take a more kind of hands-on, maybe at the pilot station or something, approach?
If no one else is at the pilot station, then he's staying there.
Well, I mean, I could literally just snap my fingers and say that an NPC is there. It's, it's up to you where you want to be.
He's fine with hands-on, since
Okay.
he's been doing the flying anyway,
Alright.
presumably.
Make a control and con roll then. Let's see if you can dock this thing. The difficulty is only 1, and you have plenty of momentum, so you should be good. I will roll for this ship.
I'll go ahead and spend 1 momentum, just for kicks and giggles.
Okay.
Okay. It's probably a good thing I did that.
Woo! Alright, so do you want to spend 2 momentum to get rid of that, or do you want to spend 1 momentum and increase the complication range and re-roll it?
I'll just go ahead and spend a clear.
Okay, down to 4 momentum. So let's see. That's 3 successes, and that would bring you up to. Oh yeah, I'll let you guys do the math on that. All right, so you guys are good. The ship comes in to Earth Space Dock, and the big doors that you see on Earth Space Dock open, and the Sovereign class just floats right in, easy peasy. And let's see. Let me see. Where is? There it is. So yeah, to give you an idea of the size of the Sovereign class, that's the Sovereign class all the way over there. And yeah, you're basically in like a small section, that makes up a huge, massive section. So a smaller section, not too small, but you know what I mean, of the Earth Space Dock hangar bay for ships. And let's see. Commander Dawson stands up. Take you back to the bridge real quick. Commander Dawson stands up after everyone, the ship is stopped and all is good. Give me 1 sec. There we go. Stands up and looks around and he says, "Well, it's been nice flying with you guys for a couple of hours. I'm gonna make my way to the shuttle bay and disembark. Does anybody need anything before I go?" He kind of looks around, half expecting people to beg him to stay. Nobody does, of course. So he's like, "All right, great. If you need anything, just let me know. My subspace comms is 121.4." And he heads towards the shuttle bay. Now, for those of you, namely Lieutenant Carr, who are like senior officers, you know that normally there is like a change of command ceremony that would be held on the shuttle bay or the cargo bay for the new commanding officer. However, it would be up to Captain Osprey if he wants that, or if he just wants to come in and sit down in his captain's seat. Captain Osprey, what is your choice on that? Change of command ceremony, or come in and sit down?
Yeah. Well, Osprey is very, very no nonsense, but he's more aware of what is expected of him than what he would want. So, what is expected of him generally? Is it the norm that there is this ceremony, or is it like a roughly 50-50 split, or what's
it depends a lot on the crew, and since you're getting a new crew, it's kind of like whatever they see is going to be their first impression of you. So if they see like all the bangles and a bunch of brass and people with trumpets and stuff, they're going to be like, okay, this is a by the book guy who's a hard ass. Or if they who's full of himself, or if they see a guy that just walks in with his pajamas on and sits down, then they're going to be like, oh, well, he doesn't give a shit, so I don't give a shit. So it depends on, and you could always do it in the middle to where it's like everyone lines up, salutes, and then you get to the bridge, and that's kind of like the middle.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. I was thinking the smart but not full dress uniform affair. Relevant crew who are not busy manning a post that must be manned.
Right.
Parade. He'll have done the thing where, let's say it's 1700 when he'd be appearing. He would have sort of like sent the thing up in advance. Parade at 1700. No one to parade before 1645. Because otherwise people will be standing there for ages. And he will, his attitude when he appears, and he will be prompt. Like if he has to pull people out of the hospital, he'll be like, go, I am not late for this. But he will appear promptly, and his aim would be to sort of say a few words, as in a couple of sentences, and then dismissed, everyone to your posts, go.
All right. Just doing a few admin things on the roll 20s. So basically, we'll say that unless there's something that Zukov and Osprey and Lasco Zed specifically want to do while they're still in the hospital. Actually, I do got to do this one scene, and then we'll move on. So as you guys are leaving the hospital, Osprey, Lasco, you guys are heading up towards the doors. Zukov, you're right behind. and all the paperwork had been signed. You notice that the half Delton that you had met earlier, Mr. Mackle, as well as Lieutenant Commander Evan Moss, the assistant to the Admiral Lane, both walk up to you, completely unawares to Osprey and Lasco. If you guys want to make an insight roll to see if you notice, it'll be a difficulty 3. Otherwise, you're not going to notice. But they walk up to you, and Mr. Moss says, "If you find out anything, we can use Zhukov."
Yes, I have information. Yes.
Well, what is it? Okay. Get on with it, man.
Okay. Hold on. Out of character, I just need to ask. I fucking don't remember. My brain just...
It's okay. Basically, from Lasco's universe, they made like an alliance with the Romulans and the Klingons, but then also eventually made an alliance with the infamous Armada themselves.
And engage in disarmament?
Yeah, well, that's a whole other story, but they engaged in being able to successfully disassemble all dreadnoughts that are scale 7 and above.
He did say 7 and above.
It seems that from Lesko Zed's original universe has made alliances with both the Klingons, the Romulans, and inevitably the infamous. To the point that they managed to actually disassemble all tier 7 and above dreadnoughts.
Mr. Moss holds up his hand and says, "Stop. That's all we need to hear. We're going to go to Admiral Lane with this immediately. Continue with them. Do your job as security chief. Nothing else is needed from you until we contact you. Is that understood?"
Understood.
And then they nod and head out.
Yeah. Did you say it was Insight Security to notice this happening?
Yep.
Okay. And would the constantly watching talent be applicable?
Yes. So difficulty 2 for you.
All right. I'm not going to spend momentum on this. Foppa. Excellent.
You get it. Is Lasco going to try to? Are you going to try Lasco or no? No. Okay. Makes sense. You're kind of recovering or have recovered. But you, as you're walking out the door, you don't see or hear everything, but you do see these two individuals who, by the way, you wouldn't know who they are. You would just know that they're in gold Starfleet uniforms. But they're talking to him for about 3 seconds before, he holds up his hand, and then they kind of just walk away, looking a bit nervous and perhaps even paranoid and scared. But other than that, you can't really... I would say your character's smart enough to know that they came from Admiral Lane and wanted to get information from Zhukov, but you also know that they only spoke to him, it looked like, because he was walking right behind you, so for him to drop back and have a conversation only lasted a few seconds. He probably didn't give them a whole lot, so...
Alright. And Osprey doesn't know who they are, but he knows what they are.
Yep.
And he's just sort of noted this and went, okay. He says and does nothing. He has just noted it.
Cool. Alright. Then we're gonna jump to your shuttle. Captain Osprey's shuttle with Commander Lasco Zed. Okay, with the frickin' hospital ambience. Arrives. Another shuttle brings... Now, I will say, another shuttle brings Merc, Santosi, and Neelan first, so that you guys can kind of get ready for this ceremony. And I will kind of just put you guys in random places on this this parade kind of thing going on here. Marine was with you guys, so he came with you. Your pilot, crewman, I believe his name is Peck. I have spent so much time looking for pictures and creating character sheets that I remembered way too many NPCs by heart at this point, their names. But crewman Peck has piloted your shuttle, and when you step off, you also need a change in uniform. There we go. When you step off of your shuttle, you will find some officers, not all of them, because this ship does require 350 officers to man, at least 100 of them to man their station, otherwise, so you see a decent amount. I would say this is not all of them. They go back further, in this direction, but you do see a decent amount standing there. And when the Marine gets off, which I will say on the shuttle ride, he told you his name is First Lieutenant Joel Armstrong. He steps off, and says, "Detail attention," and everyone kind of snaps to, and you guys step off the shuttle. I'll let you guys take away the rest of it. Starting with how Osprey reacts and stuff.
Yep. So Osprey will wait for a beat and then walk down the ramp smartly. He's aware he's on parade, even though they're parading for him, and he'll march up to the appropriate position for him in this parade. As he's approaching the group, how is everyone turned out? Obviously, as I said, he's not expecting dress, but are people turned out, relatively smartly? Is this all a bit of a slightly shambolic a display? Are there obvious spare parts lying around? What's the kind of state of affairs?
That is going to be a question for Lieutenant Carr, because before Santosi arrived, Lieutenant, and actually, let me. Actually, that'll be mostly a question for Commander Logan Dawson, who is leaving. So he walks down the center to kind of stand to, and you basically notice that everything looks as it should. There's nothing lying around. All of the NPCs, junior officers and enlisted personnel and cadets are in, freshly pressed uniforms. I will let Carr, Santosi, and Merc and any other player characters decide how they are presenting themselves. However, all the NPCs are looking good. Yeah, and according to Lieutenant Carr, they dusted. So it's looking
as long as
good.
No one else made a mess.
Yeah, I will say it looks pretty good. It looks like a shiny. It looks like a shiny new Sovereign class just rolling off the assembly line. However, everyone knows the ship is 25 years old at this point. Commander Dawson steps to where he's supposed to and stands at attention and says, "Captain Osprey, I stand relieved."
And I'm assuming his response is, "You stand relieved, Commander." And then he'll give the appropriate form of words to officially take duty. He knows that there's probably going to be a bit of a chat between them afterwards about the to-do list and all of that kind of thing. And he will then, having taken presumably an official document or a little sign-off, move to a place a few steps ahead, expecting the commander to sort of fall in behind, and turn to the assembled men, at which point he will give a few brief words of inspiration. Not going to do the whole thing, mainly because I haven't had time to write it. Just quickly going, quick, tap, 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 tap.
Hey, how about a presence to command roll, though?
Well, I am going to do that.
Okay, cool.
And also, there is one bit, some of the themes he's going to be bringing out in this are that even though this is an old ship, it is still a ship of the line. It is to be treated with dignity and respect of a ship of its class, and that we will still deport it with and carry out our mission with honor and pride. We will not allow the idea that we're on an old ship to allow us to essentially slack off. We're not the poor end of the fleet. And he'll also emphasize that at times like this, the values of Starfleet are tested and displayed more than ever. In the infamous "we face our antithesis." Our integrity is matched by their deceit. Our bravery is matched by their cravenness. Our benevolence is matched by their greed. And we must prove that our way will triumph.
He's like, I didn't write anything. I didn't have time. What was that? That was like fucking the best inspirational speech I've heard all week.
Yep. And, because this matters, you said presence and command. I have the inspiration focus, so yes.
Awesome.
I am also going to activate what with me talking about the values of Starfleet. The Starfleet must be above reproach value to get 2 automatic successes, because
awesome.
Damn it, this matters. And we've got 4 momentum. I'm not going to consume our momentum pool. That would be greedy. Is there a difficulty?
Almost at the end of the You're about 20 minutes from the end of the episode, so if you want to consume it all,
What's the difficulty?
For this, I'll be real mean and say it's opposed, and I'm going to roll for every single person. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's I would say it's a difficulty one. And if any player characters have any particular grudge against anything he's saying, you guys can roll yourself to see if you actually believe what he's saying or think he's just full of shit.
I'll consume 2 of those momentum and roll this and add it on the 2 automatic successes, because this is his big moment. He really wants to pull this off.
Nice.
Okay.
Well, Lieutenant Carr is impressed. Side note, just because you're talking about maintaining ship and keeping ship well.
Yeah.
He's happy about that.
I get a free reroll.
Okay.
Okay, so that's fine. So that is a total of 6 successes.
All right.
Just interject.
Sorry, what was that?
Lasgo.
Can I just interject for 1 second?
Sure.
I want to roll for my insight in being a betazoid.
All right. Insight, and in this case, since he is giving an inspirational commanding speech, it'll be insight and command. And this will give you a little bit.
Any command, but yeah,
that's fine. As long, I mean, you can roll insight medicine if you want, but you're only going to get like his emotions and psychology. You're not going to get any insight into his secret motives or his ability to lead or anything like that.
I want to feel the emotion of the character as the character is bringing the speech.
All right.
Okay.
Insight and medicine difficulty. Do you want to oppose that or contest that, Command Captain, or no?
Yes, but not like really hard. So it's not something where he's going to like struggle or allow it to put him off his stride. But somebody just like in his head without asking or something. In this case of no.
Okay. Go ahead and make a presence. Actually, you know what? I'll tell you what. You've already rolled presence command. I don't believe in making people roll the same roll twice in a row. So I will say that you have your insight and science, and you do have 7 momentum. So feel free to grab that momentum. But you are going to have to at least get 4 successes to be able to read this actor, basically.
Yeah. Insight and science.
Not you.
Okay. Insight's good.
Not you.
Oh, him.
You're good. Just the science officer. Insight and medicine, and you have to get 4 successes to be able to read him.
Does a 6 and a 1 work?
Yeah. That'll be 3 successes. So usually when the GM says you have plenty of momentum, you should definitely use it.
I thought I said I want to use it. I don't know.
Okay, so
yeah.
You can roll however many dice you want to spend momentum. So if you want to spend 1 momentum, you can roll 1 extra dice. If you want to spend 2 momentum, you can roll 2 extra dice. It goes up to 5.
1 momentum. 2.
Alright. It landed on 2, you said?
Yep.
Alright, so that, and what's your medicine score?
Let me see. Hold on. 3.
Okay, so that is 1, 2, 3, 4. I believe that's 5. Is my math right, guys? Because I
Yep, that's right.
Okay, so that's 5. So you guys are up 1 momentum, and you have succeeded. And I'll let Osprey. You tell him about how is Osprey feeling in this moment as he's delivering this amazing speech that I personally would never roll insight on because it's so damn amazing. Go ahead.
So yeah, his emotions are sort of like 3-layered. So the topmost layer, as he's giving this speech, is an earnest and genuine belief in what he is saying. This really is a clash of values that is being played out on the galactic stage, and it must be won. And he genuinely believes in the Starfleet way. So that's on the top. The layer underneath that is a sense of pride, not an overinflated sense of pride, but there is pride in, hey, I'm the captain of a starship now. I am proud of this achievement. This is a significant moment. and then the bottommost layer, which is not necessarily the deepest, just the smallest, is there's just a tiny hint, teeny weeny hint of I can't muck this up. Like I can't stammer over my words. It's almost I'd hesitate to take it as far as anxiety, but he is aware that like this is the important moment. He has to perform here, and he has to perform well.
All right. Does that answer your question, Tully?
It does.
All right.
Excellent.
So
yeah,
Commander Dawson is following behind you. Is there anything else that you're going to expound upon to your team?
As he finishes that trio, because that is a strong ending, as he does the final line, which is, "And our benevolence is matched by their greed. This is a existential conflict we must win. Dismissed." And then that's the line he goes out on after that strong triplet.
Well, that's nice. I can't speak for all the player characters, but some of the NPCs are probably like, damn, did we just get Captain Picard Jr. over here?
Yes!
Fantastic. Jukov is just sorry, go on.
Commander Lasgo goes, "Enter Merc! It's great seeing you again.
Cadet Merc.
How's the engines?"
Well, actually, Mac, you would know him as Lieutenant Merc, don't forget.
Yeah, Lieutenant Merc, how are you? How's the engines?
I'm sorry, do I know you, sir? Sir, my apologies. And he stands at attention. Forgive me, do I know you, sir?
And then he looks at the uniform, and he notices the cadet uniform. Oh, sorry.
Oh, not at all, sir. May I be of any assistance?
Oh, I thought you were you remind me of Cadet Lieutenant Merc in my universe.
Forgive me, does Cadet Merc know about the other universe? I don't think he does he? Is he aware of this? Yeah.
I don't think so.
Not at the moment, no.
Yeah, it's a other universe, sir. I'm afraid I don't understand.
He was an engineer.
Engineer? Kind of like real teeth? Kind of bares his teeth. Engineer? I don't... his name was Merc?
Yeah.
That's... He kind of backs away kind of slow. That's kind of odd. It kind of just doesn't disturb him, but it doesn't make sense. You know, he just revolted a little bit. You know, kind of walks away. If you excuse me, sir, I had to go see to my quarters.
He goes, "I hope you're probably better at security than engineer."
Yes. Yes, sir. Absolutely. Yes, security. That's where. Yeah, engineering is not really. That's not really for me. No. No.
I agree.
Security.
I agree. In the other universe, you weren't really good. I don't know what it was.
I think.
Is Lasco just trying to be an asshole at this point?
No.
Getting a little curious.
That's a shame to hear, sir. Well, I mean, if
don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. You did really good work. You did troop over some things on occasion.
Am I able to interrupt? Because I think we need to get on the ship.
Yeah.
Aren't we on the deck?
Yeah, so let me ask
but we need to get to posts.
Yeah, I was gonna.
Okay.
Yeah.
Commander, Cadet, we need to get out to our posts immediately.
Oh yes.
Yes, sir.
Missed.
Oh, he's gone. He's gone. He doesn't want no more of this conversation. He doesn't want no more.
Yeah, I just, as soon as double time it leaves Zhukov's lips, you are gone.
Does anyone, before we jump to the bridge, does anybody want to do anything on the hangar deck, the shuttle bay?
Lieutenant Carr will just thank his assistant engineers. You guys did good work.
Thank you, sir, Mr. Ustam says, and Cook, I think we changed her name to, just nods to you and says, thank you, and kind of goes over to a shuttle to do some menial repairs. Anybody else?
No, Santoshi, when dismissed, would just immediately turn and head to medbay.
All right, Zhukov, what about you? You heading to the bridge?
Yep.
Tali?
I'm heading to the bridge.
All right. So I'm going to move you guys to the bridge. Don't worry, we're coming back to the screen in a minute. You guys get to the bridge. Get rid of these guys. Each person takes their console. I believe engineering's in the back, actually. Cadet Merc, you're going to the armory because you're not a bridge officer, so you're going to sit this one out in the armory.
Sure.
And if anybody needs help with their tokens, let me know. You should be able
Where's
to
my
just...
spot?
I don't... Anywhere's fine. Just... I'm not going... I will let you guys decide where your posts are, because this is not... This Sovereign class vessel apparently is... the bridge layout has been changed because it looks like a cross between a Sovereign and a Galaxy, which if I had noticed earlier, I would have not done that. But hey, I actually like it. I like it a lot better than the regular Sovereign because of this back part here. But anyway, so yeah, go ahead and put wherever you want your peeps. Captain Osprey, you take your seat on in the captain's chair on the bridge. Like I said, Merc, you're in the armory with Joel Armstrong, who kind of looks to you and looks over to you and says, "Hey kid, you wanna cross train with the Marines?"
I never thought you'd ask, sir. Yeah, absolutely.
Great. Wow, put in your application today.
But do you need me to do anything, sir? I might have to fill something out.
Nope, not really. Just show up to training and stuff, and that's pretty much fine.
Got me there, sir. And he's all excited now. Get the engineering thing out of his head a little bit. Okay.
All right. So you hear, Captain Osprey, from Earth Space Dock. This is Earth Space Dock. All moorings are cleared. You're free to depart the station at your leisure. And you see the doors open up in front of you of Earth Space Dock to empty, black, dark space.
That's Space Dock. And then he switches over to internal communication for the senior posts. Because this is the first time they're going out, he wants to make absolutely sure. He says, "All stations report ready," or "All stations confirm ready."
Ready.
Confirmed.
Engines ready.
Once the various other departments have come in, he'll note all stations have reported ready. Please take us out at port speed.
The helmsman, who is not crewman Peg, because you have an actual helms person whose main job is to be a helms person. At the moment, it is Ensign Varil, an Andorian, I believe half human, half Andorian. I don't know if you would know that though. Sitting there, and she says, "Aye, sir, taking us out of space dock and into space," and taps at the console. The ship begins to slowly move out, and she glances over her shoulder back to you, Captain Osprey, and says, "The Legion is 300 kilometers away from Earth Space Dock, sir."
Thank you, Ensign. Plot a course to the farthest ring, to the farthest peak of Pluto's orbit. Engage at 3/4 impulse.
Aye, sir. She begins tapping at the console, and the ship begins to turn ever so slightly until it faces the correct direction, and then it does that thing where it stretches when it goes to warp and flies.
Warp, she's being fired.
Sorry, impulse.
Impulse.
I got caught in the Federation anthem. I was like, oh, this is amazing. This is gonna look great. And she begins to slowly meander towards Pluto from, which is gonna definitely take a day at least. No, but seriously.
He's doing the sublight shakedown before he does the faster than light shakedown.
Okay, once he realizes the impulse is great, does he eventually go to warp?
Yes.
Okay. Then the ship then goes to warp and flies towards Pluto and gets there in like 4 seconds. And that is the end of our game for today. We finally finished episode 1. Now, before we all decide to go, we are not. Here's the thing: we're not doing reputation this episode. Everyone get one normal milestone though, and we're gonna go back to that screen I told you about, because you get to pick who your assistants are. So some of these people you guys have met, some of them you have not met because just things that happened, decisions made. You guys didn't encounter them, or they clearly weren't for you. But I'm gonna start with the command departments and divisions. So you need, and this is just for Captain Osprey and Lasco Zed, you need a strategic operations officer, you need a mission operations officer, you need an adjutant, aka yeoman, and you need a chief training officer. So I will go ahead and tell you that if you look into NPCs in order of appearance, I'm actually going to bring them out to make it a bit easier for you guys to see. Lieutenant Sarai Truesight, Lieutenant Sawal, Commander Amal Silver, who is the kind of the aide to Commodore Otreda, and Commander Dawson Logan are all individuals that you two can choose for these locations. If you don't want any of them, it's fine, because I can just find an NPC to fill that role. But it is up to you guys if you want them on your team. So we'll start with Strategic Operations Officer. Do you have a specific individual in mind, Mr. Osprey?
What would the normal duties of that post be?
So this is basically like, number one, it'd probably be someone that takes over whenever the captain and XO are not around. Someone that knows the ship, but also knows diplomacy and knows strategic, the abilities of the ship and how to think strategically. Somebody that is good in a firefight, someone that's good tactically. Basically a well-rounded command and security officer that you could have in charge, but also you could turn to and be like, hey, there's these ships coming to attack us. We need the best strategy to figure out how to either escape them or defeat them.
Well, from what he said on the bridge, Commander Dawson seems like a very strong fit for that role.
He does, doesn't he? It's almost as if the GM was saying something there for that NPC. Lasco Zed, do you wish to also cast your vote for Logan Dawson as Strategic Operations?
Yes.
Or do you have another idea?
Logan Dawson.
Alright, is that your guys' final decision? I'm going to write it down if it is. Alright.
Yeah.
Mission Operations. This is someone who just from the ship oversees the missions that are going on. Unlike regular analytical operations, which is what Data and Harry Kim was, where they basically just did sensor scans, and they weren't directly in charge of the missions that go on the ground. This person would be able to look at the reports coming in and make decisions, and then feed those reports if needed to the command staff. Otherwise, if it's a minor decision, like do we nuke the planet? No, probably that's a bad idea. Then they can go ahead and send that down. So who do you want to be your mission operations officer? And you guys should have.
Do you have any strong
let
thoughts,
me
Mike?
know if you do not have the ability to look at the NPCs in your department, because you should be able to.
Yeah. So it's essentially a sort of communications and analysis role.
Yeah, and basically being able to coordinate large amounts of people in different locations.
Well, looking at the various sheets, the two people who seem to fit best into that are Sowall and TrueSight. Probably Sowall more than TrueSight, but I don't have a strong preference there. I don't know if Mac has any preferences.
Mac?
No, I don't have any preferences.
Okay.
Okay.
I will go ahead and remind you of the next two, though, so that you can make decisions based on that, too. So adjutant, so someone to basically handle clerical and administrative duties for you, for the command staff, so that will free you up to be able to do, important things. And chief training officer, somebody that will basically coordinate all training on the ship, and this will directly deal with the cadets and the lower enlisted.
Okay. Both Amal and TrueSight would make good adjutants. Probably TrueSight more than Amal, especially since I'm guessing a commander would be a bit much for an adjutant.
He probably would be.
Yeah, so maybe if we put the commander into the strategic role, because I know that Sowall also has training abilities that nobody else has.
Now, do you mean the strategic operations or mission operations?
Not the mission operations.
Okay.
Mission operations, the one that's currently open. Yeah.
Okay.
Mission operations.
So, Silver for mission operations and TrueSight for which one? Adjutant?
Adjutant.
Mac, do you agree?
Yep.
All right.
Which leaves Sowall for the training role.
All right. Which I think he has training ability.
He does!
It's so convenient!
Wowee.
All right, so the command roles are selected. Security, Zukov, as that is you.
Yes.
You met Lieutenant Mackle. He will be free to be your assistant chief of security or deputy security chief if you wish. I'll go ahead and you should, like I said before, you should be able to see. I will again, I said before.
I could see his character sheet.
Okay, I will move it up so that anyone, because you're not the only one. I think captain and command staff can also see it.
All I just need to pick is the deputy security chief. Yes.
You do, however, you also will need to. So you do only need to pick your primary deputy security chief, but you will need to set up a chain of command so that if that deputy security chief isn't available, then the next person would take over. So, like I said before, you do not have to pick Mackle if you do not want to. You can pick Joel Armstrong, or you can pick your intelligence officer, I believe his name was Vess. But it is completely up to you. And you'll basically set up who's in charge when you're not available. And I will move Vess's character sheet up as well. So that should be everyone. Where is... Yeah. Just those three, I think.
Alright, mind if I DM you the chain of command?
Sure. That'd probably be easier, to be honest. Normally I would do this over just text, but that would take a really long time, because people, it doesn't, not everyone gets back to me at the same time. Some people might take a bit longer, and I'd rather just do it all now. But as long as you've got your chain of command set up, we can move on to the next one, and I'll get that when I get that. Alright, so first lieutenant is the Marine equivalent of a brain farting, of a junior lieutenant in the Navy or in Starfleet. So technically he's the same rank as Mackle. However, Vess outranks them both. He is the same rank as you, and he is intelligence. Joel Armstrong, like I said before, is the Marine. Moving to engineering, you get to select kind of the same thing, actually. Primary assistant chief engineer, followed by secondary chief engineer, and then everyone else kind of just follows under. Now, you can, if you want, select from those two that I mentioned earlier, Hines and McMahon from Delgado, As you may be able to see, I'll have to grab it so I can look at it. There are pros and cons to each person. So there would be a pro and a con for those two as well. But it is up to you, Car.
Okay. I feel like Car kind of dismissed the idea of even letting them come aboard, so I'm not sure. I don't even know if they're around.
They can be around.
Well, I don't know. So I've been looking between Ustam and Cook. I guess here's kind of the dilemma that Car has, is that he's actually interacted more with Ustam.
True.
But Cook is the one who he didn't have to help at all for the repairs. So it's like
it's almost as if the GM came up with. Okay, I'll let you go ahead and decide.
I don't know. I'm just flipping a coin for it. So heads would be Cook and tails is Ustam, and it's tails, I guess. So that's Ustam. Sorry, Cook. No hard feelings, right?
All right. So just remember that Ustam is your primary. Now, if the captain or EXO want to veto any of these, you may. Specifically for security and engineering, not so much the others because they're not.
I think it's.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I think it's kind of fun to not do that at this stage. So let's say Ustom is terrible. I think it would probably be more fun if at some point we go, could the chief of engineering please report to my office? Let's have a talk about your staff allocations, and we sort of like do it in character down the road when stuff comes out.
All right, I agree.
Yes.
I'll go ahead and check Ustam, and I still don't know security, but you said you'll send that. Last one, I believe, is medical. So you have met only one. That is Hope Constance, who you served with before, Dr. Santosi. However, I will say that you have seen reports of Ensign Rachel Pastors being a physical therapist, assisting Lasco Zed in his recovery, but also just her general record. Actually, let me grab her character sheet. I've got to move all these out of the way.
Yeah, I don't see her sheet in the medical.
It's not because it's in NPCs and orders of appearance because. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Alright, I sent you the
Okay, thank you. I'll grab Constance.
If there's anyone that I missed, then please inform me as soon as possible.
No problem. So Lieutenant Veriza Wren she's a Trill. Her specialty is surgery. She is a full lieutenant. Although she does outrank the others, that can easily change just based on a promotion or something. So you don't feel like that has to, dictate your decision. Decide based on who you would think is the best, who would be the best primary physician's assistant to you. Or to Santos.
It would seem that physician assistant would be Constance.
Okay. Go ahead and check.
Surgeon would probably be Ren.
Okay.
And then I've nurse or whatever.
Well, you can make Rachel Pastor the head nurse if you would like. Yeah.
I mean, they'd have other duties than just that.
You have a whole medical staff of like half a dozen.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, so I'd probably put her as head nurse.
Okay. All right, just writing this down because I will forget. All right, so medical is taken care of. That is all we have today. I'm gonna move this over here. And hopefully that doesn't keep playing. Alright.